Welcome back to the Elevate Compliance podcast. I appreciate you listening in and tuning in to be here with us today. I have a special guest that I am bringing back for his second appearance on the Elevate Compliance podcast. That is Enzo Sison. How's it going, Enzo?
It's going great. Well, it's going great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really thankful to be here.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you again. I hope things have been going well for you at Prism, and with your training, we'll talk about all of the good stuff and recap kind of what we talked about last time you were on the podcast with us. So first of all, for anybody who's listening to this who maybe didn't hear the last episode of the podcast, just give us a quick rundown of who you are, what Prism does, and kind of what your target audience is.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so I'm the founder of Prism, and we're really focused on technology and marketing and helping dental practices grow. We focus on two main metrics, so new patients per month, and then the patient lifetime value, or how long they're with the practice, and the amount that they spend with the practice over their entire lifetime there. So yeah, those are the two kind of main things that we focus on. And yeah, there's just like a lot of definitely exciting like movement in the technology side of things. And so it's been really, really cool to figure out different ways to apply that, for our customers. And then also we're really into, like more broadly sharing what we learn from the business and what kind of works on the technology side with our broader entrepreneur or community of entrepreneurs as well. And
Awesome.
so that's really exciting to us too. It's just like, we want to go and, work with the best people, like find what's out there. I mean, so much of like the technology and marketing is kind of like, really throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what works and what doesn't, then just
Yeah.
iteratively trying to get better and better. And so now we're kind of at this point where we have this amazing community of really, really high caliber entrepreneurs, and we're all there's so many similarities in terms of like how you apply technology to grow businesses. And so, yeah, it's just been really exciting to learn, learn so much and to be working with such great clients. So, yeah, really thankful to be here, Will, and yeah, really excited to talk more for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That sounds great. Speaking to that, we'll elaborate on that just a little bit here because last time you were on the podcast, one of the big things that we talked about was culture in a practice or culture in a business, really, in
Yeah.
terms of, not just the marketing culture, but, your overall culture, how you run the business, how you treat the people who work for you and work around you. So, given what you just said about there's been some really cool movement and you're connecting with these entrepreneurs who are doing these really great things in technology, what have you
Yeah.
learned about, the culture side of things since then? And share a little bit about, broadly what you just mentioned, some of the people you've connected with and how some of that has grown.
Yeah. That's such a great question, Will. One of the things like that we've been thinking a lot about over the past like couple months here is just like how important really your why is, for a business, and really having like being really clear about that. And, 'cause it's a North Star really that can like pull you and your team forward, and not even you and your team. It's also, something that your customers can really, easily understand and can really understand, hey, this is what they're all about. And that you're all kind of like buying into this shared vision, right? That you're all working towards together.
Hmm.
And that inevitably, like there's just going to be, hard things that come up, right? Or things aren't going to go perfectly seamlessly all the time. There's going to be different like challenges that you're going to have to go through, personally, like you and your team are going to have to figure out how to do it. And with your customers too, like you're going to have to figure out a way to communicate that with them and then take them
Hmm.
along the journey and kind of all do it together. Be like, hey, we're doing this as a team, and we're moving towards this shared kind of vision that we have that's really important to us. And so that's one of the things that has been really, really, I've just been reflecting on it a lot recently. I mean, it's really important to me, obviously, as an athlete, but just being an entrepreneur and working with, our customers and the partners we work with, but then also like the other, again, like I mentioned, like the other businesses that we've been so like great to like, it's been so great to collaborate with and share ideas with, that a lot of like it kind of that core struggle, like it's just going to happen, like that there's going to be like some things that are not going to go right, and that that's really when that why is tested, for the founder and for the team and for the company. And sometimes that becomes a crucible moment, where you actually have to reflect on that and be like, hey, we got to pivot or adjust or change how we're seeing this landscape.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's been something I think that's really important, is just being really, really focused on that why, and so that you can move towards that kind of shared vision. I saw this quote recently that it was something like, like when the roots are strong enough, like you don't have to worry about any kind of storm, right? So like a big tree, like, and they have really strong roots, and you have a really strong why as a company, there's inevitably going to be storms you're going to go through, right?
Yeah.
But if those roots are strong, they're going to be good, and you're actually going to be better and stronger together as a team, having gone through that. And so that's something I've been thinking a lot about for sure, from like a culture, I guess, kind of standpoint, and yeah, following that why.
That's awesome. Ever wondered how to make compliance management so much easier in your practice where you don't have to manage it every single day? Using Elevate Compliance's online platform, you have access to forms, online continuing education courses, and answers to compliance questions whenever you need them. Not to mention, we will write your appeals if you are ever cited by OSHA or HIPAA or a state specific OSHA plan. For information, visit elevatecompliance.net or reach out to me directly at will@elevatecompliance.net. Yeah, so something that just resonates with me, given what you were just talking about the why behind the business and driving that part of the culture. I got the really unique opportunity a few years ago when I was with the National Speakers Association to see a really fantastic keynote given to us by a guy named Jerry O'Brien. He was on the team and was kind of the mastermind behind the Blue Mountain on Coors Light beer. And it was a really fascinating thing because it's such a simple thing, right? It turns blue when your beer
Yeah.
is cold. And the message behind it had a lot to do with his approach is it's about your because, not your why, but it's essentially the same thing. He's saying like when you say what's your why, that's why you want to do it. I want to do it because, and that was kind of his approach to it.
Yeah.
But what was fascinating about it was they did a bunch of like case studies and interviewed people, and they were like, okay, well, who's most likely to drink Coors Light beer? And it was college students, of course, and
Yeah.
he's like, what matters to them most? Because they had done ads where it was like, the really attractive girl who brings the beers in. They did like
Sure.
the party scene, and none of them were really increasing sales. And what they found was the simplest answer was that, and that was they wanted their beer to be cold.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That
That's
was what
such,
they
oh,
wanted. And
yeah,
so they
it
were
totally makes
trying all
sense.
these really elaborate, over the top things when they recognized that, man, you know what? People who drink beer want? They want cold beer, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so they came up with this idea, and obviously it's a very iconic, very well known strategy in marketing. Or that one particular thing. But anyway, just fascinating that you brought that up. It just made me think of that because that was a really interesting, way to approach, not overdoing it. And I love your comment about the roots. If you have the strong roots, you can weather the storm. And that's what it was about, right? You don't need to do all these super elaborate, over the top things. Sometimes the simplest answer is going to be what gets you the deepest roots. And so, just a fascinating story that popped into my mind as you were talking about the why behind the business and stuff. And, that was pretty neat. So, okay, well that's awesome, and I love hearing that things are going well for Prism. I love that you're learning stuff and growing and getting connected to these other entrepreneurs. One of the things though that I really wanted to talk with you about because it was probably of all the people I interviewed on season 1 of the podcast. We're in season 2 now, and in season 1 of the podcast. I think your comments about wanting to make a difference in the Philippines for where you have your family, roots and trace back, and you've gotten to meet so many people there that you didn't know before until relatively recently. So any movement on that? How have things been going in terms of Prism, and have you been able to utilize your skills or anything like that to help anybody there? Has there been any movement? I know it's only been a few months since I had you on last, but how are things going in that regard?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, so things with the Philippines have been going great. So I mean, most of what I'm really like kind of focused on right now, I think, is like the training side of it and just really trying to do well on the track and field side for the Philippines,
Okay,
and
sure.
trying to learn more too about. But so much of it, I think I'm like really in this kind of like I'm thinking. I want to take like really like a long term view on it, and just like I think that like right now I'm really in this like learning phase of it where yeah, I just really recently connected with the Philippines and like with my family there and everything, and it's been so exciting. And the way that the vehicle I've been been able to do that through is with track and field, and so I've just been really trying to improve that and grow my network there and meet more people and understand so much more on the track and field side, kind of like what's it like being an elite athlete or a professional athlete in the Philippines? And just it's so different, Will. It's so different than what it's like here. It's just like, the like limited access to resources and like places to train even and equipment and
Sure.
all of that is a huge factor, and like coaching and like kind of information and like how to nutrition, how to stretch and train right, like all there's kind of like this list of different things, and I think that's kind of like trying to understand like what the problem is and like how we could best kind of solve that is kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
And the team that I'm working with in the Philippines is we're trying to, really grow the amount of kind of like how attractive the team is to people like really wanting to go and push for it, because it is really hard, and just like we're trying to make it so that just that path is a little bit easier, for the athletes that are in the Philippines. And so myself, I mean, I'm obviously based here in the US, and there are some
Hmm.
other athletes like myself that are based in the US and other parts of the US that have Filipino heritage. And so we're all kind of doing this thing where we're going and meeting with other athletes that are based there and understanding, how how we can help donate. Like a lot of them, even the biggest thing is food. Well, it's crazy, like food insecurity. And so we've been able to start to set up some of these programs now where we're able to regularly, as a team, we're able to regularly donate like big giant bags of rice, which has been awesome. And so yeah, it's just been really, like just kind of getting involved in the scene and meeting the right people and understanding like where we can really make a difference and really help people. But I think that technology, just like to transition, is going to be a huge. Um, I mean, it's just going to be an amazing wealth creation opportunity in the Philippines, an opportunity for new people because I think it's so decentralized, like the way that all that how the technology is moving so quickly. It's just becoming so much cheaper to
Hmm.
learn how to use the best tools and then like activate them for your business. And so for your business, for schools, but for also for athletes too. And so I think that technology is kind of this underlying layer that can be applied to all these different things. That's what I'm like so excited about. It's moving really quickly right now, and we're really just trying to learn like what are the best ways that work to grow our business, and what's kind of this repeated format that we're able to use for ourselves, for like our broader or our broader community of entrepreneurs, and then our customers as well, like the dental practices that we work with. Like
Hmm.
what are these principles that are kind of working, and then how can we use these to share them with startups in the Philippines, entrepreneurs in the Philippines, and help those founders just really accelerate their growth, and solve those really big problems in the Philippines, like like food insecurity,
Right.
and access to equipment, and even in information like coaching. Like all that I think can be solved so much with technology. And so that's, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So we have a long journey to go. So I'm still learning a lot, and just, yeah, just trying to keep on moving towards that. But I've been really thankful to connect with so many people and to be working towards that. So it's been pretty
Well,
cool.
that's awesome. And we'll talk more after the show because I want to know how I could be involved. I don't know what that would look like, what capacity that I could possibly do, but um, I would like to be involved somehow and be a part of whatever it is that you're working on. And so we'll talk more about that after. But yeah, let's
Thanks,
see
Will.
how
Yeah, that
Elevate
means a lot.
Compliance can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll talk more about that after. So, but switching gears for just a second. So talking about competing and again, for anybody who missed the first time Enzo was on the show, he is a pole vaulter and going to be aiming to compete in the 2028 Olympics, which I guess are in what, LA? They're in the
Yeah,
US this
yeah,
time,
they're
in
in
Los
LA.
Angeles.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be
coming to
awesome.
the United States, yeah, not a far play, not a far trip for you to have to take. Certainly a
Yeah,
lot shorter
right.
of a
I'm
trip than
based in the
going to the
Bay Area.
Philippines.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah,
how's progress on that coming? Have you competed at all since we talked last time? And how have things been
yeah.
going? What kind of medals have you been winning? And how are things going?
Man, it's been really exciting. So we're just track and field kind of we have like an indoor season, kind of around
Okay,
like winterish time, and then we go to into our outdoor season. And so yeah, we're kind of just now starting our indoor season, and it's been so awesome, Will. I mean, I'm just kind of in this, we've been making really big adjustments in my like technique and my training style. And yeah, it's just been like kind of starting to pay off. It's kind of like one of these things where like the why, like when we were talking about where you make a pivot in what you're doing, and like sometimes you make a pivot in your business or your training program, and like you actually it takes a long time to see the fruit of that pivot.
for
And it's
sure.
really that's what makes it so hard is it's like you're moving towards this, and like things are actually kind of getting worse almost before they're getting better, and you're starting to question yourself, like, is this the right thing? Like, should I have invested in this or not? Or should I have gone this way? Or did I make the wrong move? And that's where you really just got to be really like strong with that why. And that's
Yeah,
what's going to allow you to like, you revisit that and then you just keep on going and keep on, you take another step. And so like, there were some months during there where I was like, I was questioning myself. I was struggling with this kind of pivot we had made in my training program. But now I'm feeling so much better, and it's yeah, the results are getting better too. And yeah, we just got to keep on pressing, keep on going, and yeah, it's heading in the right direction. So
awesome.
yeah, it's been really exciting to be making progress there.
Elevate Compliance is proud to be a member of the Dental Nachos and Nifty Thrifty communities. In fact, we're extending our special year end offer from the end of 2024 into early 2025 of 15% off your first 3 months on the platform if you join using the promo code SOCIAL15 at checkout. For information, reach out to us at info@elevatecompliance.net, or you can email me directly at will@elevatecompliance.net. Okay, shifting gears again to talk a little bit about last time you were on the show, we talked about one of Prism's goals. One of your goals with Prism was to kind of find the synergy between, I know everybody hates that word synergy, but I'm going to use it here, between science, art, and business, and talking about in the dental industry, because obviously it's a science, and there's a wonderful amount of art to dentistry. And then the business side of it, of course, it presents its own challenges. And we talked a little bit about culture already, but what are you seeing in terms of, the clients that you work with and just the dental industry abroad? Are you seeing that, things are continuing to move in the direction where that synergy is getting better? And what's Prism doing to further that? Because I know, we talked a little bit about like how AI is exploding, and we'll get into the AI stuff here in just a couple of minutes. But in terms of the technology and finding that sort of, perfect spot in the center of the Venn diagram there, how are things going in terms of that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's been so awesome. One of the things that's been really exciting for me, just as we've been on this journey, is that we kind of come like from the like technology background, but not so much from the dental background. And so these past 2 years of like starting Prism and like I said, like learning so much, and learning kind of like how can we apply these different techniques and strategies and tactics that we've used at some of the other big companies that we've worked at to really, really drive that like new patient per month needle and LTV needle for the clients that we work with.
Can
And
you give
so,
a can you give an example or two of what that looks like? Like
yeah,
what are
yeah.
what are
So
some ways that you do that?
one of the ways I think it's just been like really more deeply understanding as we've gone through this journey, like better understanding the clients we work with, and like how what the kind of day to day is in the office, and like what things really matter to patients, and what things are like what are kind of the common questions that they're asking, and what are basically these gaps, that happen where we can fill in that information and kind of make the process even more seamless. So like after they one of the things we've been driving really hard, and that we really encourage our clients to do, and if you're listening to this, I encourage you guys to work on it, is the Google reviews. Like Google reviews are so important, like from a back end perspective, like just that it helps the algorithm understand that, hey, this is the business that Google's like, okay, hey, this is probably somewhere where our customers would have a good experience, so we're going to send them to this dental practice because they have all these glowing reviews. And so that's something that it's kind of doing all these magical things on the back end, to help generate more lead flow for you and to help with those conversions. But that's the second thing, is the conversion side of it. Is just that that's one of the first things that people look at is the Google reviews
Hmm.
when they're browsing through the practice for a
Sure.
practice. And understanding like what other people's experiences have been. And I think it's like that, for any business really, is like those testimonials, and as clear of a picture as you can kind of paint as like this is the experience you can expect to have when you come in and come into our practice and come work with our business. Like the more confident they feel that they're gonna like, have that experience, like the better it can be. And people talk about this abstract thing of like brand, quote unquote, like people throw that term around a lot, like
Hmm.
brand this, and like some people think it's like a logo or whatever, but we really think of it as trust. Like brand is trust. And when you have a long like a practice that's been around for a long time, they have like hundreds and hundreds of Google reviews and all these referrals. Like they have a really strong brand,
Yeah.
and like that's what we really try to help like all of our clients work towards. Is some of them actually have that in person, like in their local communities too, but it's just not shared online, or it's not depicted online in any way. And so that's sometimes just all it takes, is we just have to put this little bridge up and show some of that stuff online, and then the conversions just go crazy. And so yeah, I think that's one of the tactical things that I would say is just like really pushing the reviews, and that shows so much about, you know, yeah, it paints a really clear picture, I think, of like what the experience is like, and what it's kind of like going into the practice. And it's kind of combining, yeah, like these things of, the spirit and the energy that you and your team are bringing, but also like some of the technical side of it, just making it easy to leave a review, right? So one of the things our clients have is they have like a placard with one of those NFC chips in it, and not even like a QR code, so that you don't have to scan it with your camera, but instead, like as the patient's walking out, they just kind of hold their phone up to the placard, and then the review shows up on their screen, and they just start typing. And so just it's like
Awesome.
a couple seconds faster than maybe like the QR code, but they don't have to sign to their Gmail or whatever. It's like it's a little bit faster, and yeah, that can help with the numbers too. So anything that we can kind of do, like on the user experience standpoint, like before they come in, I mean, after they come in, lead the practice, and after their appointment, to really capture that, and then add it to the flywheel of how we're using that to, again, increase like the impressions and then the conversion rate, is kind of how we look at it.
Awesome. And what is your take on? So obviously, talking about the reviews in that sort of line of thinking, how do you and the folks that you work with at Prism, how do you feel about social media in terms of a practice? Because one thing I'm seeing now, more and more, especially on like Instagram, for example, is short clips like reels of stuff going on in the dental office, and there's of course there's the trends and stuff and people kind of jumping in on that. What is your impression of social media? Is it absolutely necessary? Is it something that like is helpful, or do you generally not recommend it? Where do you generally stand on the social media side of things, in conjunction with obviously growing the online presence through reviews?
Yeah. That's such a good question, Will. That's such a good question. I think it fits so much. It's kind of like this ecosystem, and like the social media is totally like part of like that online presence that we want to build. And like the ideal way to do it would be to have, all of those really set up. It just takes so much. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of input from the office to go and like create the content and post it, and then engage with the community there. And so I think that like it's kind of this thing where the way that we kind of see it is like you want to make sure that like the website and the Google Business Profile, your Apple Business Connect and Yelp Business Profile are like the most important things to get those right. And like that's kind of the foundation of the online components of your business. And then from there, you can kind of like go like a chunk up and start to do social media. And I would recommend kind of picking like a couple platforms to focus on. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, people are like, oh, should I do like Oh, I guess TikTok maybe I'll be going away now, but people would say like, TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, or like what are these different like platforms that we should be using? Um, and yeah, I mean, I just think that whichever one is best, that you like best, like maybe that you're most familiar with, or someone on your team who's going to be running it is really familiar with, but also, yeah, that's just easy for you to maintain it and to post on it regularly and interact with people on it regularly. Like it's kind of like that going back to the leaving a Google review thing and making that super easy. You want to do that for yourself too and your team. Like you want to make it super, super easy for you guys to create content and then go and like post it and then engage with your community. And you because you want to do it as much as possible. Like the more that you do it, the better that your social media channels are going to grow. And then after that, the top rung is then it's an advertising. But after you have a good base of social media, but I think that it's social media is so great because it you can post you can really tell your story or people can that thing of like people experiencing what it's like to go to your practice.
Yeah.
There's different levels to this. Like maybe like 1 out of 10 is not really posting like any pictures of anyone from the team. It's not really that personal. It doesn't really connect that much. But then a 10 out of 10 is like, they're posting videos from all the different people of the practice and like, put videos with patients and video testimonials and like different, like sharing stories of patients and those types of things. So there's kind of like this range of how good on the quality you can do. But I think that you just want to be really authentic. And it's so powerful because it can serve as like fundamentally any business you're either working on like impressions and the amount of people that are seeing kind of your getting like a touch point to your business or seeing some kind of ad or a piece of content or a web page or something like that or an email from your business and then the conversion rate or like how often somebody's going to actually be like okay I'm going to come in and come in for an appointment or I'm going to become a patient now and social media is good for organic because it will like organically put you in front of people that are in the area but if you do it right it can be a really powerful conversion metric too because maybe like that person's other friends like three of them are following you and they see that so they're like oh they go to this dentist too and then like it's a video of you with another patient and it's like super friendly and they had a great result like all those things will not only help with organic like you finding somebody but then them potentially converting or going down the next layer of the funnel and maybe going to the website and learning more about you and your team and the services you provide or the insurance you guys work with so
Sure.
that was a long answer. I hope I
That's okay.
explained all that
Yeah.
okay, but it's really, yeah, it's great. It's great. If I definitely recommend using it. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Awesome. And in the same vein of thinking about social media and technology using utilizing the Google reviews and really maximizing the benefit that you get from those. Last time you were on the podcast, you talked a little bit about how Prism is exploring and kind of getting involved with the AI side of things. And I know AI obviously is a big deal now. There's a lot of companies that are doing AI in dentistry, whether it be helping read radiographs or whether it be answering phone calls, those types of things. And what are you seeing in terms of what you do on the AI side of things? And are there any particular technologies or applications, I guess, for AI that Prism is finding to be most successful in terms of growing the practice?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For us, well, I think it's been the biggest thing that's been super mind-boggling for me. I mean, it's still mind-boggling. Like every single day, is how much faster I'm able to do like the types of things that I did before, like from a development and design perspective. Like
Yeah.
we really, really care about like making the website for the practice really, really custom and using the best techniques, the latest like technology, and making sure that the design is super, super beautiful on any device or breakpoint that the user. So like if they come from a desktop or their laptop or their phone or whatever they come from, that they have a fast page load speed, like all these things are really really, really important to us. And one of the struggles was earlier in starting Prism was that it just takes a lot of time and like a lot of effort. It's like it's hard for me to go and build all that up. It just takes a really long amount of time. But we really wanted to, we wanted to get that faster. And um, that's been the biggest thing, like the biggest unlock is that it makes it so, so much faster to like even like researching about like knowing like the latest and greatest like what kind of technology you should be using in your stack like that's changing all the time right like there's always new startups like oh I have a new solution that's better than whatever thing you're using for SEO or whatever thing you're using for image editing or that's always constantly changing And so I mean, AI is a great tool, that you can use to just understand really quickly, like what tools should I be using to build my website or to create content or to build a content calendar that's going to go and schedule posts for me like throughout the week, or that's going to, get the right analytics and data, getting the right analytics and data so you can make data-driven decisions. But um, and putting that all together, it just is. It normally takes a lot of time, but AI has just made it so that it's way faster for you to basically get from idea to something that's tangible in really high quality, and then
Hmm.
that you can then test and iterate through really quickly. I think that cycle of iteration is like one of the most important things for any company, like any business, is like how quickly can you like identify the problem and then solve the
Yeah.
problem, and then you just keep on doing that faster and faster and faster. And yeah, that's been like one of the biggest unlocks, is that I think like for every business should be using this, like every dental practice, every business outside of that should be using this, and just trying to at least trying to learn. I mean, just start to pull the thread and like start to like try to apply it to, maybe it helps you like make your Instagram posts like, a few minutes faster, whatever, but just start to explore it, because like I promise it's a great horse to bet on. And like um it's people have this fear of like, oh, my job's gonna be like replaced by AI. And the reality of it is that like your job or your business isn't gonna get taken out by AI. It's that you're gonna be taken out by another business that is using AI, or
That's
another
utilizing
person
it
that's
for
using
sure.
AI. Yeah, and so I would just totally recommend like just start to dip your toe in the water, maybe watch some videos about it or something. But it's so powerful, and it's so amazing for marketing, and creating that really tailored, a good experience for somebody online, just like they're having in your practice, in your office.
Awesome. Well, that is fantastic information, man. I really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want you to have to give up all of your trade secrets on the podcast, because I want people to come to you and
Happy to share.
learn from you and see what you can offer them, especially through Prism, and what you can do for their business. And so with that said, as we start to get really, kind of close to wrapping up here, there is one last thing that I want to talk about, and that is I got to address it again just because we talked about it last time you were on the podcast, and that is gaming, and that is gaming.
Yeah.
So, what have you
Yes.
what have you played lately? What are you into right now? What's I'm sure you're very busy, especially with training and with Prism and everything. You probably don't have a ton of time to play, but
Yeah.
what are you into right now?
Man, it's been killing me that I haven't had more time to play Marvel Rivals. Have you heard about Marvel
Oh
Rivals,
yeah,
Will?
oh yeah.
Have you played it yet?
No, I
Okay.
probably won't. I know it's extremely approachable. I've watched a lot of it. My brother's ranked and is playing it. I think I told
Yeah.
you my brother's he played professionally, and not Marvel Rivals, but he played
Sure.
video
Yeah.
games professionally. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he's been playing it a lot, and I've been watching him, and I know it's a little more approachable than some of the other ones out there, the Overwatch likes, but that's just not really my pace of game.
Yeah.
But okay, all right, got it. So are you? What's your favorite character? His was Jeff the Land Shark for a little while. He swam around on land, which was pretty hilarious. What's
That's
your favorite
awesome.
character?
Will, I think my favorite character is Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight,
Is he a
and I
tank?
just he's a damaged character. He's a
Okay, all
damaged
right.
character. Yeah, and I just love his character. I think he's really cool, in his story and everything like that. But I think Marvel Rivals, it's like such a prime example of like those guys innovate. Like they did so. It's really the same. I mean, it seems on the surface like a copy and paste from a product perspective as Overwatch,
Right.
right? But they've done these like a few little things, focused on a few little things like the why of their game, and just
Hmm.
that was all they did. They copy and pasted Overwatch and then did a few things that were really well, like that superhero kind of like customization. And now it's going to the moon. Like that game is
Yeah.
it's making a ton of money and breaking all these records and everything like
Yep.
that, and
And
everybody loves it.
insane player retention. That's the other thing too. I think I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that after however many months it's been out now, they still have they've like 92% retained their player base or whatever, and that's
yes.
incredible number. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. It's amazing. It's amazing. That's the type of stuff we want to see with our practices, right? It's
that's
like
right. Hey,
amazing
yeah,
retention,
absolutely.
like blow it up. And it's like you don't have to do all this like fancy stuff. I think it's just like focus on a few things and just really, really do it well. And
Yep.
you can get really great results for your business. And yeah, sorry, it's a weird like bring back, but I mean Marvel Rivals,
But
I just
yeah,
think it's amazing. And I love superheroes. And yeah, I've been trying to play that a little bit, but
okay.
I wish I had more time to play it for sure, man. It's pretty amazing. It's awesome.
Nice, awesome, man. Well, maybe that's a pretty approachable game. Maybe I'll have to get into that. And what we should do soon is we should do a live stream, and we'll talk business, and we'll talk dental and stuff and all that good stuff. But we'll do it on Twitch, and we'll do a stream on Twitch and just goof around and play some games or something soon. We'll have to do that. So
I'm so game. I'm so game. I'd love to do that, Will. I'm so up for it. Yeah, let's do it.
awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, one last time before we get ready to wrap up, do me a favor one more time and let everybody know who you are, where they can find out more information about you and Prism.
Yeah. So my name's Enzo, and you can go and search up. It's our website's design-prism.com, or we're also on Instagram right now. If you want to join like our community of entrepreneurs, like I said, like we try to share like in the like weeds business tactics every single day, and then we talk about it too with the other founders that are in that community. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can do that too. It's just at the underscore design underscore prism. It'll be really easy to find our Instagram too from our website as well. So it's just design-prism.com. Yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys. And yeah, thanks for having me again, Will. This was really, really cool.
Absolutely. It's good to see you again, my friend. And yeah, we'll have you on again soon as those 2028 Olympics get even closer.
Yeah, awesome. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, Will.
All right. Sounds good, my friend. Appreciate your time.